Do I look like Andie MacDowell? Not really. And just like Charles, I'm a couple days late for this film's 25th anniversary. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back, and today I will be checking 4 weddings and a funeral off the 1001 movie checklist. If you do not know what the 1001 movie checklist or 1001 movie challenge is, it is basically a challenge I've given myself to check every single film off the 1001 movies you must see before you die book. So far, I have checked 170 films off the list. If you want to know more, you can check out a playlist up there with the intro video and every single film I have checked off in this series so far. As always, let's get started with a short summary. 4 Weddings and a Funeral follows persistent bachelor and perpetually late Charles and his band of friends as they search for love. When Charles meets Carrie, it's love at first sight. Though they spend a memorable evening together, every time they see each other, something always seems to get in their way. I feel like I've talked about this multiple times, but I have never been a huge fan of romantic comedies, but I am a huge fan of the 90s, and I couldn't resist watching this movie. I mean, one, I have it on Blu-ray, and I just had to check it off anyways. It's on the list, and its 25th anniversary is coming up, so I was like, hey, why not? But once I started watching this film, I just fell completely head over heels in love with it, mostly for the storytelling style. I love the fact that they show only the 4 weddings and the funeral and only a little bit in between. You only get little bits and pieces of what happens in between. I think there's only one time they show something that is outside the 4 weddings or the funeral until after all of them have happened. Yes. But you still get the full scope of the entire story within those 4 weddings and funeral. Between those 5 events, plus these small little outliers, you still understand what is happening with all of the characters. You still get a really emotional bond with them. So when the funeral happens and when the event that leads to the funeral happens, you are like in tears throughout the entire, at least I was in tears when the funeral happened, and when it was leading up to it, I was like, okay, this is surprising. I didn't realize that I would get this emotionally involved in characters that I honestly don't know a whole lot about, but I feel like I know a whole lot about them anyways because of the writing and the way the story is told. Some other things I really liked about the way the story was told is the little bits of background work you see, especially within the first wedding. I thought it was really well done. Some of the background work that Charles and the other characters have to do to get Charles the wedding rings that he forgets. It also gives you a great insight into those characters as well.
And to cherish.
Till death us do part.
Till death us do part.
Do you have the ring? With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring, I thee wed.
And speaking of the characters, let's talk about the actors. I really want to focus on Hugh Grant because he is the star of this film, and I don't really know a lot of the other cast besides Andie MacDowell, but I don't really feel like Andie MacDowell did much. She really was kind of a background character to Hugh Grant and the rest of his group of friends, the ensemble cast as it were. It's really Hugh Grant's story, but his friends make it more of an ensemble piece, and his friends are really great. All of them together, all of them as a unit, just are, it's so, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, cohesive maybe? I don't know. But Hugh Grant, this film is just, it is what Hugh Grant is as a romantic comedy leading man, and I thought that was like, this was just kind of one of those films that really propelled him into that, but this is actually the film that moved him from like stuffy dramatic roles into more of the romantic comedy leading man, which is awesome because this actually sets up not only his stereotypical like leading man style, but a lot of other stereotypical romantic comedy men for throughout the 90s and even early 2000s and still to today. It's that kind of like bumbling, stumbling over their words, kind of shy, don't really know what to do, perpetual bachelor kind of thing, but I still really enjoyed it. And then I only briefly want to touch on Rowan Atkinson because he is the clip, spoiler alert. I thought that when I saw his name pop up, and then when I saw him in here, I thought he would have a little bit more to do, but he's kind of just a little guest star because I think this was around the time Mr. Bean was really popular, so they wanted to get this big name in like Rowan Atkinson. I don't know that for sure, don't quote me on that. He was just kind of a little bit part in the first 2 weddings, and I really enjoyed his character. He's hilarious. He's Rowan Atkinson in this role pretty much. He's like Mr. Bean but a priest. If Mr. Bean was a priest, that's what this character would be. I still enjoyed his character, and you'll see my favorite part of Rowan Atkinson in the clip. Spoiler alert. But that leads me to the one thing that I did not enjoy about this film was the fact that it is basically a stereotypical romantic comedy, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of romantic comedies, is because they follow a very definite timeline. And maybe I'm just not a fan of romance. I don't know, because I don't like drama romance movies all that much either. Like, don't like The Notebook at all. I really don't like The Notebook. Here is the stereotypical storyline that 4 weddings and a funeral follows, and pretty much any romantic comedy that you will watch. The constant bachelor, or something similar to that, sees a girl. He falls madly in love with her at first sight. He obsesses over her. They sleep together, but something is there. Usually the girl seeing someone else that keeps them apart. He settles for someone else. She comes back into his life after ending it with the other person. He has second thoughts, then calls it off with the other girl, and then they finally end up together. Pretty much every single romantic comedy storyline. Yep, pretty much. That's the only downside to this, but the way the story is told, again, I'm going back to that, and the cast in this, the ensemble cast, really make this a standout film. And one of the very few romantic comedies that is very stereotypical story, like, it's a very stereotypical storyline for a romantic comedy. It's one of the very few that I actually really enjoy, so there we go. And for the clip, I know I already teased that it's going to be a bit of Rowan Atkinson. It's my favorite part, is the part of the film that made me laugh for its entire very drawn out, like very cringeworthy, drawn out duration. But I have to show this tiny little part because it's my favorite part from this bit.
I, Bernard Delaney.
And I, Bernard Delaney.
Do take thee, Lydia Jane Hibbert.
Do take thee, Lydia Jane Hibbert.
To be my awful wedded wife.
To be my lawful wedded wife.
That's right. That's right.
And that is all I have for 4 weddings and a funeral. As always, these are just my opinions, but I'd love to know yours in the comments down below. Let me know your favorite romantic comedy movie. It can be a stereotypical one. It can be a random one. Mine is actually 500 Days of Summer because it subverts your expectations in the end, and I really enjoy that. Plus, it's also Annie Hall, but I also love Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel. But anyways, if you know which films I have checked off so far, or just follow my progress along in general, there's a link to a Google Doc in the description down below with a list of every single film I have checked off so far. I'm also an Amazon affiliate, so if you'd like to start the challenge for yourself, purchase the movie I talked about today, or get ready for the movie I'm going to be talking about next time, there are links in the description, and if you purchase anything from there, I'll get a little bit of a percentage that'll help make this channel even better. The next 1001 movie challenge video comes out on Cinco de Mayo, and I thought instead of celebrating Mexico's independence, I thought I would celebrate one of Mexico's greatest directors, Guillermo del Toro, with watching a movie that has scared me since I saw trailers for it, Pan's Labyrinth. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know here in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, mystery, all the fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!